everyone, welcome to the Money Show, your one-stop destination for your personal finance queries. I am Kavita Thapliyal, and today we have lined up a show where we were talking about ULIP plans and your investment and insurance coverage in ULIPs. And we will also throw upon the counter to get your mutual fund portfolio queries answered. Just in case you want to send across your questions, you can do that via WhatsApp number, which is 865-797-4571. You can also email us your questions on the Money Show at etnow.tv. So let's talk about your insurance and investments later on the show, but then before that, let's get to the top headlines of the hour first. Nifty hits record high but closes in red, dragged by M&M. Broader market follow a similar pattern. Pharma top sectoral gainer. Gas stocks in focus after sources tell ET Now that the government is likely to discuss rationalizing tax on CNG, the move aimed at pushing alternate fuels besides petrol and diesel. M&M stock slips almost 7%. Maruti, Hyundai and other major automakers slash prices. Is inventory piling up, or is it just a seasonal discount? We decode. Ola Electric likely to cut down the portion of offer for sale in an upcoming IPO. It's an exclusive. Supreme Court rules that Muslim women can seek maintenance on alimony from their husbands under Section 125 of the CRPC. Decision hailed as a major step towards equality. Former Indian head coach Rahul Dravid reportedly refuses additional bonus offered by BCCI, agrees to take 2.5 crores as was offered to other coaches. Alright, so let's talk about ULIPs on the show today. As we all know that it's a unit-linked plan but also gives you a benefit of insurance coverage, but then why are insurance companies selling it as an investment tool? What has IRDAI said in its latest notification about ULIPs? Let's decode all of this. I have with me Mahavir Chopra, founder beshak.org. Mahavir, good evening and welcome to the show. And a lot has been done and said about ULIPs and the way it's sold to people out, but recently, IRDAI has again reiterated the same thing that has been talking about, in order to stop mis-selling as far as investment products and insurance is concerned, is by not selling ULIP as an investment product. So what actually was happening and why did this notification come from the regulator? Could you just explain that first?
Right. So basically, a unit-linked insurance plan is what it is called. ULIP is an insurance plan. It is unit-linked, right? So basically, IRDAI has come up with a circular which says that an insurance company now cannot advertise a ULIP or an index-linked ULIP as an investment product, basically, because the whole idea of insurance is to protect people and at the same time probably have certain additional tools which will help for savings. But the way it was basically being sold in the market, and the way a lot of mis-selling was also happening in the market, where funds were being sold as specific products, like how mutual fund is being sold. There was a lot of confusion in the minds of the customer, whether it's a mutual fund or it's a ULIP. I think it is in that direction, basically, to solve that issue where customers don't get, mixed up between a regular investment plan, which will probably be coming from a mutual fund or let's say a fixed deposit, a ULIP, which is basically an insurance plan which also has a savings element to it. So it's basically a direction given to insurance companies that when they advertise products, they will have to advertise them as insurance products and not as investment products.
Right, but when you talk about ULIP having an insurance component, how much exactly is the percentage of this coverage? Because a lot of people totally look at it as an investment product. To be really fair, from the policy holders or from a person's or a viewer's point of view, insurance is barely mentioned when ULIP is being sold to you. Even the modern ULIPs we've seen, a major thrust is going on the investment part. Giving it different angles, calling it an index-based ULIP or a mid-cap-based ULIP. So a lot of thrust on the investment part is also being given when it's being sold to you. So how much is the coverage of insurance also that way, Mahavir?
Okay, so typically it's a 10x cover of the annual premium that you pay. So let's say if a customer is basically taking a cover of 50,000 rupees, if it's taking a policy with an investment, which should not be called investment anymore, but of let's say 50,000 rupees is the premium that it's paying for an annual premium, then the cover would be 10x of that. So basically the cover would be 5 lakhs. If it is 1 lakh, it would be 10 lakhs. That is the typical cover that comes with a ULIP. If you compare this with a term insurance, obviously the cover that you get in a term insurance is very different because there's no savings component. There the cover would be 1000x, right? This is 10x, that is 1000x. So that is the difference.
All right. Now going ahead, what's the kind of change that you would like to see as far as ULIPs are being sold? Because it's not only about, differentiating it as a product and, making sure that even insurance is a part of it. There are a lot of other aspects as far as ULIP is concerned that people need to know. People who are buying ULIP need to have a clear view about what kind of investment product it is and what kind of cost structure or in terms of coverage, be it insurance or investment it gives. So this is a major part of mis-selling that comes across when you are talking about selling ULIP. But apart from that, what all details according to you should be highlighted when one is dealing with ULIP plans or selling a ULIP plan?
If the customer has a goal to basically solve for long-term investment, only then they should get into a ULIP. A typical ULIP will have 5 years of lock-in, right? You cannot remove the money for 5 years and you are basically locked into the plan for 5 years. So it doesn't match with your needs. Does it match with your requirements is the first thing that you need to understand. The second most important thing is to understand the charge structure. So every ULIP plan will have a charge structure which will be very different from a mutual fund's charge structure. A charge structure basically means that whenever you're making a premium payment, what is the amount of money that the insurance company is going to charge to basically manage its own side of the story, which is basically manage its expenses, manage its commissions and all that. So there are 3-4 large heads of charges that you need to understand and basically and calculate and evaluate and compare that with any other investment avenue before you take a decision. Two most important charges that you must look at, one of which is called an allocation charge. An allocation charge is mostly a charge that has been kept for commissions that are to be given to the insurance agent or whoever is the intermediary, let's say it's a bank. So that is a charge which could be very high, and you need to basically look at that charge very carefully before you take a decision. Apart from that, there would be administration charges as a separate charge, fund management charge, which is very similar to, let's say, a fund management charge in a mutual fund. There will be something called mortality charge. A mortality charge is basically the term insurance premium for the 10 lakh cover that we are talking about, right? If the person is paying 1 lakh premium, the 10 lakh cover, the charge basically to give you that cover. So these charge structures need to be understood very well. Third thing that needs to be understood very well when someone is getting into a ULIP would be performance, right? The fund performance of that insurance company for that specific fund that you're basically finally the money is getting allocated to, that needs to be understood very well. And only if all these three things match your needs, which is one is goal, second is understanding of the charges, and the third is the fund performance, is where you should basically make a decision. If you've not understood these three things largely, then you should not basically jump into a product like this.
Also, when we talk about mis-selling in ULIPs, we know that there have been modern type of ULIPs. A lot has been done to make it a very transparent product. A certain kind of uniformity also that was trying by the regulator. But then I also want to understand the dip in the mis-selling cases. Has it really helped? What will you say?
Yeah, so there are two types of ULIPs that exist today. The modern ULIPs that we're talking about typically are the ones which are sold online. There are still ULIPs which are sold offline, which are sold through banks and basically through agents, right? These have higher charges, right, than compared to the products which are sold direct to the customer through the website of the insurance company. So typically, if you look at the overall percentage of sales that happens out of a ULIP, it will largely be happening through banks and agents, and a very small proportion of the total ULIP sales happens through online, which has those modern ULIP products, right? There practices definitely have improved is what I hear. There is no specific data that is available right now for us to be able to put a number to it and say that, the ULIP mis-selling has reduced. A lot of this, in my view, is also something which I would call misbuying, where a user, whoever is going to the, let's say a policyholder is going to the bank and they are buying the policy for a wrong reason, buying emotion, understanding that we are talking, the viewers who are watching this need to understand that whenever you're buying anything, you also need to be very, very careful about what you're getting into and not only blame the customer. However, for vulnerable population, right, which is senior citizens and people who are from probably lower economic classes, there where it is happening, there should be strict action that should be taken, for sure.
All right, Mahavir, I do have a lot of questions for you, but then it seems there is some bandwidth issue and technical issue. We'll have to wrap this discussion for now. Thank you so much for joining in and helping our viewers with every aspect of ULIP today. Time to take a quick break, but then post that, let's get your financial portfolio queries answered. We'll be having Anil Rigo live with us after this quick break.